Hey Joe, it's Mike Pernay here, ETHOSystems. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how you can take a serialized item that you sell to a client, and we can actually track, quantities of that item, show it actually on the client of yours, and also track a maintenance schedule on it. I have Chantel Myers here from ETHOSystems. She's a Stage 100 contractor consultant for us. She was a controller at a low voltage company similar to yours, and they utilize Stage 100 Contractor to accomplish exactly what we're going to show you today. So Chantel, I'm going to go ahead and let you take this away.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, so initially what we need to do is we need to have the inventory module available for use. We are initially going to set up the parts that we are going to have in our system, and we need to bring in them as serialized parts. So here I have the parts shortcut right here. I'm going to go into 9.2 parts. We are going to set up this part. This part you see is already set up as a security system. The main components of this particular part that we will require is in this inventory tab. We want to make sure that the serialized item box is checked. That way that when you, if it will flow throughout the system and double check to make sure once you've issued this particular part to a work order, it's making sure that that is actually the serialized number and quantity on hand. So we have serialized item checked and stock item checked. There's also a service equipment tab here where we're going to check to make sure this is a service equipment item. And then it does allow us to record the OEM warranty duration. That is the original equipment manufacturer warranty duration, and I've just plugged in 12 to show that that will be 12 months covered under warranty. Once we plug this into a work order, I will show you how that is being tracked on the client. So that is how you set up the parts with these two particular tabs that are very important, the inventory and the service equipment. We will save part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will then go to a work order. We're going to create a new work order. We are going to call this a work order. We are going to choose clients 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 4. Excuse me. This is going to be installation security system. And I'm actually going to tie this to a job so that I could run job reports on it that I've already set up. Notice on the location tab, I have everything filling in here, the address for the job. I could plug in service area, cross street, map location. And then I could also tie it to a route if I wanted to, if this was a route. When I was a controller, we did set up service routes where they were called annual, quarterly, monthly, and we would then be able to run reports to show and pull in the particular work orders by service route. So that may be something that you guys want to do. You could also set up service contracts to act the same way. So this is the location tab. We also have dispatch tab. This is where we're going to dispatch this particular work. We have, notice in the bottom, I'm sure you've been using Sage for a while, so you should see here that the note or the description of what is supposed to go into that field populates this bottom left-hand corner. So enter the date when the call is received. You can go through and, like I said, complete this dispatch tab to dispatch the call out, which will then link it back to this dispatch board over here under 11.3. You could have, if you have a service manager, manage the work from the dispatch board. And we can go into that further on another call. You can mark that this is when it's supposed to be started as far as the date is concerned, the time, the completed date and time, and the actual hours for job costing purposes. Then down here in the grid, you can assign the employee to this ticket, vendor, if there was a subcontract related work that needed to be complete, priority, when it was scheduled, scheduled start, scheduled finish, all of this. Actual start, actual finish. Here, that's the dispatch tab, and then we have the billing tab. We will put, if we are invoicing this right away, we could put this in an invoice, put an invoice date, due date, so on and so forth. If this particular work order was going to be set up as a route for a contract, we would complete this routes and contracts area. The status would have to be either a contract or a route in order for it to open up and allow us to see any information here. If we wanted this installation of security system to be part of a contract, we would then input that contract information here. So say it's an annual contract. We will say the next billing is going to be next month. We'll say this is a monthly billing contract. Then you're going to choose your type. I'm going to choose HVAC just because I've tested the system and I know that all the predefined defaults are successfully, I'm able to successfully save the work order, which we can go into later. And then here we have Invoice Details. And actually, this is where we're going to pull in that part for that serialized part. So I'm going to pull in part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 security system. Notice everything's pulled in for me. I'm going to issue one of them, and I'm going to put my price. If you already have work orders that your staff is using in the field, you could say they're numbered. You could assign the numbers here as far as the ticket number is concerned, and then you can marry up the paperwork to the work order and Sage. Scrolling over to the right, the account number and the sub-account are automatically defaulting from our types here. Here's where we're going to choose the location. We're going to choose we want this part to pull from the warehouse, location number 100. There's also a drop-down box. So if the guys had it in their truck, they could pull from the truck or from the warehouse. You could have unlimited amount of inventory locations. So this particular part is in the warehouse. And here's where we're going to put our serial number in. So that's our serial number for this particular part. You can choose a location that you're going to install this particular item at if a client had multiple locations. That is it on that tab. And once you're ready to go, you can save it. And I saved it right now as a contract, right? Once I'm ready to go ahead and bill this particular item or bill this particular contract, I'm going to post it. I've performed the work and installation, and I'm going to go ahead and post this service contract. Just telling me that they're all going to be posted. One record posted. So if I go back and recall that record, this is the particular work order that has now been billed for $300. Notice it's in an open status. It's no longer a contract. However, if I use my drop-down arrow here and look at my contract, you can see that I still have my contract here. This is the original contract. And my next billing date is now October because I've billed now for September by posting the contract. So that's how you can build out work order and set up contracts, and routes work the exact same way. There's several reports you can run on the system that will look into the future as far as what routes what service routes are coming up, what equipment needs to be serviced, that type of thing. Going out to the client now using this bent arrow. I can go down here to the equipment. I can see now this row number 3, it's automatically populated with that particular inventory item, that serialized inventory item that I just issued to the client and billed to the client 654321. We've installed it on August 12th. The service date was August 12th, and the OEM warranty expires. Remember, that came directly from the inventory part, and it was 12 months, so in 1 year that will expire. And over here, you can set up when was it last serviced. You can set up different service cycles. So we have, whether it be 30 days, so on and so forth, and then the next service date for that particular part. Or you can simply use the contract that we set up in the work orders. So that is it as far as just a general overview of how you can set up serialized part numbers and issue them to the client on a work order. And you can set up, service contracts and routes that will allow you to run reports that you can see, what work you have upcoming as far as servicing or maintaining those particular pieces of equipment on your client.